Hello guys, welcome to Ride VIP the Ride channel. My name is Serge, and in today's video I have used ChatGPT to calculate the cost of driving a Tesla versus the cost of driving a Range Rover, and I did a number of different type of calculations based on my current driving of 3 to 4 times a week. I just have taken 4 times per week. Sometimes that would be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Those were the days that was the most profitable to me for driving just any car, because it's the weekend, people are going out more often, and there's more money to be made. And I have calculated the cost if I used Tesla for just 4 days per week, and I rented it for 28 days, and taking into account Tesla costs, also the $60 zero emission deductions, which I will go over in this video. Also, I have taken into account the daily charging of $30, also daily charging $30 savings for days not used when operating the Tesla, to determine if I use the Tesla for 4 days out of the week, yet have paid for the complete weekly Tesla rental. Would it be cheaper to have a Tesla, or would it be more expensive versus a Range Rover? This answers will surprise you, and I have all the math right here. So that I would not make a mistake, I have first put all the costs associated with the Tesla and fed that to the ChatGPT. As you could see, the whole conversation's right here. A couple times I found ChatGPT just it was wrong, so I told it where it was wrong, and then I told it to recalculate things, and it did just that. The cool thing is it puts everything into perspective. It does comparisons pretty well, and it provides pretty good answers. You just have to make sure that you also know your math, and you need to kind of like check everything over just to see if everything is good, as I have done. So anyways, recently I posted a video of me renting a Tesla, and I showed you the cost of the Tesla rental, and I done a basic calculation just to figure out whether it makes sense for me to drive one to begin with. Due to my account being deactivated on Lyft, the only option I have left is Uber. However, I do not have a car that is that's going to be approved by Uber to drive. My 2006 Range Rover would not qualify. It needs to be at least 2007. Therefore, instead of sitting on my hands, I need to continue making money and also feel that I am not a slave to the work. And would I even have the opportunity to not drive the Tesla some of the days, like I had that choice with having a Range Rover? And would it still make sense for me to rent a Tesla if I wanted to have a little bit of freedom? As you remember, or have watched my videos of me renting a Tesla for 2 months, and then I rented it, I think, for a couple weeks. All the numbers were quite different, and the times that I actually operated the Tesla was different. What I mean by that is sometimes I have worked during busy times, and sometimes like it was not in season when I rented it. In either case, I always made money. I realized that there was some savings, but there was one big problem with renting a Tesla, which I did calculate, and I have talked about numerous times, which is time lost at a charging station. So that particular time lost at a charging station is also important, because usually it takes approximately 1 hour to charge a Tesla, and sometimes a little bit less. I needed to charge Tesla 2 times per day. Also, I needed to commute to the Tesla charger, sometimes 30 minutes each way, because there's only 4 locations that I can use in the city, and the price of those locations varies greatly. At this point, I do not know if the price of charging has went up. This is something I will go over with you guys once I do get a Tesla, to show you the exact charging prices. But based on my last charging price calculation, at $15 per charge, and charging it twice, which would be $30. That's what I'm basing my math on. Now, since then, the price of charging might have went up a little bit, or it could have went down. That remains to be seen. But in either case, if I do not drive, I am losing money. Yet I need to be making money. So what I have done to save money right now, I've removed 2 vehicles from my insurance. Also, that means I will not be paying any taxes on those vehicles, and I do not need to fuel, additional vehicles or have to worry about their maintenance. So I only left the Range Rover. So that means now if I rent a Tesla, my wife will be able to drive the Range Rover while I only drive a Tesla. So anyways, let's go over some of these calculations. So as you've seen in a video that I've posted about renting a Tesla, the Tesla rental is $299.99 per week. Now this might be for a base Tesla. I do not know. I think it costs an additional $70 if you rent a performance, well, not a performance, just a dual motor Tesla, which would be a long range. So this time I will just rent a basic Tesla, if one is available. Anyways, Tesla insurance weekly will cost $70 because it's a voluntary insurance and it costs $10 per day. I choose to have it because you just never know what's going to happen. So daily charging is $30. Zero emission incentive is $60 per week. Now, I believe that is based on deducting, how should I say, $1, well, just giving you like $1 extra per ride, which will be at most $60. I think that's what they're basing it on. I do not know, but that was the case. You just get like an extra dollar and not more than that. So I could see that in a week you could do actually more than 60 rides, but you're only going to get $60. Okay, so here's the cost of 28 days rental, which I put per month, is $1,196. That is the cost of 28 days of renting a Tesla. Tesla insurance, $280 a month. Zero emission incentive is $240 per month. Daily charging is $30 per day. Cost for 28 days is $840. I just figured I will throw that out there. So now this is some of the calculations that ChatGPT has calculated for me, and I had to correct it on some things, and then it gave me the proper answers that I was looking for. Because it messed up and it was not taken into account daily charging. It was just taken into account $30 weekly charging. So you just needed to understand that $30 per day is the cost. But anyways, to calculate the total weekly and monthly cost for Tesla rental with insurance and zero emissions incentive, we need to consider the given prices. Tesla rental weekly $299, Tesla insurance weekly $70, zero emission incentive is minus $60 per week. 28-day rental period should be considered. Let's calculate the weekly and monthly cost. Weekly cost, Tesla rental plus insurance, $299.99 plus $70. Insurance equals to $369.99. Zero emission incentive minus $60. Weekly cost for the Tesla is $369.99 minus $60 incentive equals to $309.99. Monthly cost, total weekly cost is $309.99. Number of weeks in a total month, approximately 4.33. Considering an average of 52 weeks in a year, total monthly cost $309.99 times by 4.33 equals $1,341.32. Please note that 28-day rental period is already taken into account in the calculation, since the rental cost is specified as weekly and the monthly cost reflects a total of 28-day period. Charging $30 per day equals $840 per month. To calculate the total cost of daily charging for a Tesla at $30 per day for 28 days, we can use the given information Daily charging cost $30, number of days 28. Let's follow the steps. Step 1, calculate the total cost of charging for 28 days. Total charging cost for 20 days equals to the daily charging cost, number of days. Total charging, times number of days. Total charging cost for 20 days is $30 times 20 days equals 840. So the total cost of charging a Tesla at $30 per day for 20 days would be 840. By the way, this is ChatGPT's very, clear and I guess insightful type of answers. It could be answered in a lot of shorter manner, but I guess it's as bad as me. It likes to explain things. Cost of driving a Range Rover based on 400 miles per day. This is the calculation that we're going to do next. Current fuel prices in South Carolina at my local gas station: regular $3.50, mid-grade $3.75, premium $4, and diesel at $3.70. This is the information that I have provided to ChatGPT. So, to calculate the cost of driving a Range Rover based on 400 miles per day using mid-grade fuel, we need to follow these steps. Step 1, calculate the number of gallons of fuel used per day. Step 2, calculate the cost of fuel per day. Step 1, calculate the number of gallons of fuel used per day. Range Rover miles per gallon equals to 15.8 miles per gallon. Number of miles driven per day equals to 400 miles. Gallons of fuel used per day, number of miles driven / miles per gallon. Gallons of fuel used per day equals 400 miles times 15.8 miles per gallon equals to, divided, 400 miles per day divided by 15.8 miles per day equals 25.32 gallons, rounded to 2 decimal points. That would be the amount that you use of gallons per day in a Range Rover. Step 2, calculate the cost of fuel per day. Mid-grade fuel price per day equals $3.75. So I ask you to just use mid-grade, not even premium, because that's what I've been putting since the fuel cost is so expensive, even though we're in South Carolina. And fuel prices have been actually going up recently. So cost of fuel per day equals gallons of fuel used per day times mid-grade fuel price per gallon. Cost of fuel per day equals to 25.32 gallons of fuel times 375 divided by gallons used equals $94.95, rounded to the 2 decimal places. So this is the total cost that is actually costing me per day in fuel. And guys, I've been looking at this. It doesn't matter what vehicle I drive. Usually it's 400 miles per day. That's what I've been doing. So the estimated cost of driving a Range Rover based on 400 miles per day using mid-grade fuel in South Carolina would be approximately $94.95 per day. Keep in mind that this is an estimate and the actual cost may vary depending on driving habits, traffic conditions, and any changes in fuel prices. To calculate the cost of driving a Range Rover for 28 days at 400 miles per day, we can use the information provided earlier. Range Rover miles per gallon, 15.8 miles per gallon. Fuel price, 3.75 per gallon. Mid-grade fuel. Number of days, 28 days. Number of miles per day, 400 miles. Let's follow these steps. Step 1, calculate the number of gallons of fuel used per day. Gallons of fuel used per day equals number of miles driven divided by miles per gallon. Gallons of fuel used per day equals 400 divided by 15.8 miles per gallon equals 25.32 gallons, rounded to 2 decimal places. Step 2, calculate the cost of fuel per day. Cost of fuel per day equals gallons of fuel used per day times mid-grade fuel price per gallon. Cost of fuel per day equals 25.32 gallons times 375 per gallon equals 94.95, rounded to 2 decimal places. Step 3, calculate the total cost of driving for 28 days. Total cost of driving for 28 days equals cost of fuel per day times number of days. Total cost of driving for 28 days equals $94.95 times 28 days. Cost is $2,650.60. So the estimated cost of driving a Range Rover for 28 days at 400 miles per day using mid-grade fuel in South Carolina would be approximately $2,658.60. Again, this is an estimate and actual cost may vary based on various factors. Let's calculate the total cost of renting a Tesla for 20 days, including insurance and charging cost, and compare it to the total cost of driving a Range Rover for the same duration Tesla rental cost. Weekly rental cost $299.99. Weekly insurance cost $70. Weekly zero emission incentive $60. Total rental cost for 28 days. Total rental cost equals weekly rental cost plus weekly insurance cost plus weekly zero emissions incentive times 4 weeks. Total rental cost equals $299.99 plus $70 minus $60 times 4 weeks equals $1,244.76. Tesla charging cost, daily charging cost is 30. Number of days, 28 days. Total charging cost for 28 days, total charging cost equals daily charging cost times number of days. Total charging cost equals $30 times 28 days equals $840. Now let's calculate the total monthly cost for Tesla rental. The total monthly cost for Tesla rental equals total rental cost plus total charging cost. Total monthly cost for Tesla rental equals $1,244.76 plus $840 equals $2,084.76. Now, let's calculate the total monthly cost of renting a Tesla with driving a Range Rover. Range Rover cost $2,658.60. Tesla rental $2,084.76. Based on these calculations, driving a Range Rover would be more expensive compared to renting a Tesla, including insurance and charging costs. However, it's worth considering that these costs may vary based on other factors such as driving habits, fuel, electricity prices, insurance coverage, and any additional fees associated with the rental. Also, you need to take into account the Range Rover depreciation, the cost of maintenance and upkeep, the cost of parts, and additional time that I would use actually maintaining the Range Rover, which I would do myself. But now let's calculate the cost of Range Rover if I use it for 4 days. And ChatGPT says, sure, let's calculate the cost of using a Range Rover for 4 days per week for the next 4 weeks and compare it to the cost of renting a Tesla for 28 days, considering all the Tesla costs, including rental, insurance, and charging. For the Range Rover, daily driving distance 400 miles, fuel type mid-grade fuel, fuel price $3.75 per gallon. For the Tesla, weekly rental cost $299.99, weekly insurance cost $70, weekly zero emissions incentive minus $60, daily charging cost $30. Let's start by calculating the cost of Range Rover. Daily driving cost equals number of miles driven divided by miles per gallon times by fuel price. Daily driving cost equals 400 miles divided by 15.8 miles per gallon times $3.75 equals to $94.94. Total weekly cost, 4 days per week equals daily cost times 4 weeks. Total weekly cost of driving a Range Rover is total weekly cost actually equals 94.94 times 4 equals to $379.76. That is driving it for 4 days instead of 1 week. Total cost for 4 weeks, 20 days equals total weekly cost times 4. Total cost for 4 weeks equals $379.76 times 4 equals $1,519.04. Tesla rental cost for Tesla rental equals weekly rental cost plus weekly insurance cost plus weekly zero emission incentive times by 4 weeks plus total charging cost for 28 days. Total monthly cost for Tesla rental $299.99 plus $70 minus $60 times 4 plus $840 equals to $284.76. Cost of using the Range Rover for 4 days per week for 4 weeks, $1,519.04. Cost of renting a Tesla for 28 days is $2,084.76. Based on these calculations, using the Range Rover for 4 weeks for the next 4 weeks would be more cost effective compared to renting a Tesla for 28 days. However, this comparison is based on the specific number provided, and the actual cost may vary depending on various factors such as driving habits, fuel, electricity prices, insurance cost, and any additional fees and associated with the rental. So as you could see, guys, if I drove the Tesla for 4 days but paying for 1 week compared to driving a Range Rover for 4 days, it will cost me actually additional money for renting a Tesla, which would be in the lines of $550, let's just say, extra per month that I would have to pay for renting a Tesla. So still, this means I would need to actually drive the Tesla every day if I should basically have any savings. So based on these calculations, using a Range Rover for 4 days per week for the next 4 weeks would be more cost effective. So we already went over that. So now I'm having it recalculate things, the cost savings and whatnot. Certainly, let's calculate the cost of renting a Tesla for 28 days, but only driving it for 4 days per week, taking into account the cost savings. Wait a minute. Looking at this back here, I think there's a possibility that ChatGPT probably did not take into account the fact that if I'm not driving a Tesla every day, I'm also not charging it every day. So therefore, the cost would be about similar. But I think I actually fixed that. That might have been a wrong calculation, but we will take a look at it again in this calculation here. So, because I know I made a mistake somewhere, I didn't think I saved that information. But anyways, let's calculate the cost of renting a Tesla for 28 days, but only driving it for 4 days per week, taking into account the cost of savings of not charging it on the days it's not used for the Tesla rental. Weekly rental cost. Okay, yeah, this is what I did. So before I calculated the total cost of the Tesla, I guess with the charging. So the numbers was actually not incorrect. It's basically it's the way I asked it. So basically, I wanted to compare the actual cost of the Tesla if I use it every single day versus just using a Range Rover for 4 days, which meant that is not me using a Tesla for 4 days. That's only me using a Range Rover for 4 days, just so that you're not going to be confused with the calculation. Of course, the cost of Range Rover would be less expensive if I only use it for 4 days, yet I drive the Tesla every single day while still incurring the cost of charging. So that math was not correct. So I just wanted to explain it because there's a lot of calculations that I did, and there's a lot to go over. So in this calculation, I wanted to calculate if I use the Tesla for 4 days, and I wanted ChatGPT to take into account the days the Tesla not being used, that actual savings, and versus me just using the Range Rover for 4 days. And then I will calculate if I use the Range Rover for a month and use the Tesla for a whole month, which means 28 days, what the cost savings would be. And believe it or not, it's still cheaper to rent a Tesla if I use it for 4 days, Tesla, or using for 4 days the Range Rover. So disregard that last comment because I actually confused myself a little bit. If you were following along, I'm sure you probably did not miss that. So anyways, weekly rental cost $299.99, weekly insurance cost $70, weekly zero emission incentive is $60, daily charging cost is $30. Let's start by calculating the cost. Tesla rental Tesla monthly cost for Tesla rental equals weekly rental cost plus weekly insurance cost plus weekly zero emission incentive times 4 weeks plus total charging cost for the days used. Total monthly cost for Tesla rental equals $299.99 plus $70 minus $60 times 4 plus daily charging cost, number of days used. Since you're only using the Tesla for 4 days per week, the number of days used for over 20 days is 4 days per week times by 4 weeks equals 16 days. Total charging cost for the days used equals daily charging cost times number of days used. Total charging cost for the days used equals $30 times 16 days equals 480 days. Total monthly cost for Tesla rental $299.99 plus $70 minus $60 times 4 weeks plus 480 charging equals to 1,140.76 rounded to the 2 decimal places. Range Rover, as calculated earlier, the cost of using a Range Rover for 4 days per week is 1,519. So you could clearly see Tesla using for 4 days and taking all the costs into account is only 1,140.76. So it's actually cheaper to use a Tesla for 4 days versus me using Range Rover for 4 days. You could clearly see that in this calculation. So the total savings would be approximately $260, something like that, right? Something like that. Yeah. Well, a little bit more than that, maybe like $280. Anyways, doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is I am saving and I don't have to worry about any additional cost to me. Okay, cost of renting a Tesla for 28 days and driving it for 4 days per week. $1,140.76 cost of driving a Range Rover for 4 days per week. For 4 weeks, $1,519.04. Based on these calculations, renting a Tesla for 28 days and driving it for 4 days per week would be more cost effective compared to using a Range Rover for the same duration. The cost of savings in charging the Tesla only for 28 days it's used contributes to making it a more economical option in this scenario. Again, please note that these calculations are based on the specific numbers provided and actual cost may vary depending on various factors. To calculate the savings of using a Tesla compared to the Range Rover based on the information provided, we need to find the difference between the total cost of each option. Total cost of renting a Tesla for 28 days and driving it for 4 days per week, $1,140.76. Total cost of Range Rover for 4 days per week for 4 weeks equals to $1,519.04. Savings, total cost of using a Range Rover, total cost of rental a Tesla, savings equals to 1,519 minus 1,140.76, savings of $378 rounded to the 2 decimal points. The savings of using a Tesla, renting it for 20 days and driving it for 4 days per week compared to the Range Rover for the same duration would be approximately $378.28. This represents the cost advantage of choosing the Tesla option in this scenario, primarily due to the lower operating cost associated with an electric vehicle like Tesla, such as lower charging cost and incentive for using zero-emission vehicles. Now, I'm actually going to calculate the cost of the Tesla for 28 days and the Range Rover cost for 28 days and to see the price difference and the savings, total savings. Let's calculate the total cost of renting a Tesla for 28 days and driving it every day, including the daily charging cost, and compare to the total cost of driving a Range Rover every day for the same duration. For the Tesla rental, weekly rental cost $299, weekly insurance cost $70, weekly zero emission incentive $60, daily charging cost $30. Let's start by calculating the cost for the Tesla rental. Tesla rental, Total monthly cost for Tesla rental equals weekly rental cost plus weekly insurance cost plus weekly zero emission incentive times 4 weeks plus total charging cost for 28 days. Total monthly cost for Tesla rental equals $299.99 plus $70 minus $60 times 4 plus 30 times 28 equals $2,048.76, rounded to the two decimal places. Range Rover. As calculated earlier, the cost of using a Range Rover every day for 28 days is $2,650.60. Comparison: the cost of renting a Tesla for 28 days and driving it every day, $2,044.76. Cost of using the Range Rover every day for 28 days, $2,658.60. The savings of driving a Tesla for 28 days compared to the Range Rover for the same duration would be approximately $613.84. This cost difference favors the Tesla option primarily due to the lower operating cost of an electric vehicle, including charging costs compared to the traditional gasoline-powered vehicles like Range Rover. Well, anyways, guys, as you've seen from all of these calculations, and this time I had ChatGPT do the calculations for me. In the past, I've done calculations myself. Certainly, I could make some mistakes. I try not to. I'm usually very thorough. And even when reading ChatGPT answers, I look at everything and make sure it actually calculates it correctly. So, with all that being said, it does not matter whether or not I use the Tesla for 4 days per week or use it for 7 days a week. I will still end up saving the money. And the reason I calculated me using the Tesla for 4 days in this last segment right here is to figure out, is it still going to be cost effective? And looks like I'm still saving $378 compared to driving the Range Rover for 4 days. And if I use it for a month, I'm actually saving even more. Now, what I have not taken into account is this. Currently, the Range Rover that I'm driving, it's only considered as an economy-based vehicle. Once I start driving a Tesla, I will be paid more per each ride, considering the fact that I could take more expensive rides and green rides. So I will actually get paid more. It's just I now understand for myself, if I do decide to take a day off or 2 or 3, I don't have to kill myself, and I could actually do that. So if I decide to do something else during a week, I can actually do that. Now, the Tesla cost obviously is $2,044 per month. So with that being said, would it make sense for me to actually buy my own Tesla? Okay, and if I buy my own Tesla, there's a very good chance that I'm gonna pay even less per month. Yet, if I buy the correct Tesla, let's say the best option would be to buy a Model Y with 7 seats, right? Like just get a brand new one, right? But there's also that option of getting a Model X with 7 passengers, which is a much better vehicle. I could get like a long range performance, or I could actually get the Model Y with 7 seats, and it would not be performance. I will be actually making a video on that because I've taken a look at some of those calculations on my iPad, and turns out that it's going to cost me roughly $64,000 if I buy the dual motor long range Model Y in a color black with an option of 7 seats. And basically I cannot select the performance option like long range performance and have 7 seats for some reason. I don't understand it. So this is why I opted for $2,000 upgrade and chose the much better rims, but they are only giving me 21-inch rims versus 22-inch rims, those turbine wheels, which kind of sucks a little bit, but hey, what can I say? But if I do select a Model X, let's say with already like shoot, even like 70,000 miles, it would be equivalent to a savings of approximately $50,000 or more. I've seen some for $48,000, like for 2016 models, 2017s in a color black with 7 passenger. And the Model X is certainly a lot nicer ride. It's got gold wing doors, they're automatically operated. And that is for a performance one. Like that is like top of the line. Um, with that being said, that's something for me to consider because um, that Tesla Model X would already be used. I'm saving quite a bit of money, and it's cheaper than a Model Y. And if I use the Model Y for 1 year, it's probably going to have a same type of miles. So that means might as well just get a Model X. I would get a nicer one, a performance one, and 0 to 60 acceleration would be on that like 2.9 seconds, 2.8 seconds, something like that, which would be kind of awesome. I could really drive passengers around with wind going through the hair. I'm just kidding. I do not want to get kicked off the platform, but that is definitely something to consider. And recently I've been deactivated, and normally I do not, well, deactivated from Lyft platform. There's a very high likelihood, now that I see Lyft deactivated me, there's a good chance that Uber can decide to do same thing. And at that point, will I be able to afford uh, the Tesla, considering the fact that I got kicked off the platform? Now that's something else entirely. Now if I do end up getting a Tesla Model Y um, with 7 passenger in black, or Tesla Model X 7-seater in black, I would be using it on Uber Black platform. That means I would be getting the highest pay possible, which would be um, Uber Black XL, So in Uber Black rides would qualify, and any type of luxury type of rides. I could select to only give the best rides possible. That means I would have a lot of times on my hands, obviously, but that also means I'm making higher amount by putting less miles on my vehicle. In that remaining time, I could actually do eBay. I could be just go like on my phone, going, like parked somewhere, maybe at a charger station, just going through pictures and whatnot, and just posting new listings to eBay. And I think that would be ideal. So now I would not be actually wasting time at a charging station, but instead working on my eBay business to hopefully have it take over my ride sharing business, and just make more money as a result on eBay. But nothing in life is guaranteed. This is why I always have a backup plan for the backup plan. With all that being said, three of my channels combined make me enough money so that I could actually make a payment on a Tesla if I do decide to buy one. I've been kind of hesitant to buy one, especially with the recent prices of Teslas. I do feel that by December they're going to drop some more. Now, there's a very nice incentive for buying a Tesla, which is $7,500, and something like a Model Y would definitely qualify. I think a Model X would qualify, but that's a long shot. I really don't know if it would or not. Now, whether or not I would end up getting a Model Y or a Model X used would highly be determined by what kind of interest rate I'm going to get. Sometimes getting a newer car, you get a much better interest rate. Also, you have that nice warranty that comes along with it. So that is something I need to think over. But getting a used Model X would mean I get a highly, highly discounted Model X, which is kind of cool. It means I could pay it off potentially quicker. It would be nice if I still would qualify for the 7,500 incentive, even though I'm not buying it directly from Tesla. But I think that would be determined on actual taxes. Like when it comes time to doing taxes, I believe, well, I've seen it before. I do my own taxes. There is a place over there to add what kind of vehicle you have. So there's a very good possibility that that's all it takes really is to then enter this vehicle, and it's going to determine whether or not this vehicle qualifies. Now, With all that being said, there's a lot more to be said. This is still something that I'm thinking about. But if I would end up getting any kind of Tesla, which would be black, I would be, of course, driving an Uber Black XL. And I would be working on building my own clients as well by getting the appropriate limo slash taxi type of license in South Carolina so that I could actually build business that way and have direct customers. In that case, I would have my own clients and I would not have to worry about being kicked off the platform. So I think this is highly likely that I would end up doing that. There is another thing that I should mention in this video as well. I've mentioned it before. I want to mention it again just in case we have new viewers here. About a year ago, approximately, I've built my own rideshare platform, which is total of 5 apps. There's a rider and the driver app for iOS, rider and the driver app for Android, and also the admin panel for my rideshare company, which is called Ride VIP. And this is when I decided to start this channel, except I started the channel in November of last year, so it hasn't been that old. So I kind of figured, look, I could start with myself building my own clientele while sharing my experiences on YouTube. Perhaps my channel would grow, and then I could share these experiences with my viewers. And if somebody would want to download my app, that would be like very much appreciated. I would definitely value each and every one of you as drivers and would not be deactivating you, like unwillingly. Um, Maybe I worded it just a little bit wrong, but I would not deactivate you for like no reason. Like especially for like silly things like I've been deactivated for, because I understand what's it like to be a driver. I understand this is livelihood for some people, and this could really impact somebody's livelihood, like including marriage and financial being. So I would not be deactivating people for that. Like the only thing I would deactivate somebody for if somebody is drunk driving or on drugs, and for that, I would give the driver a courtesy and benefit of the doubt that that was not the case. I would not just simply deactivate. I would take my time or give my staff like information that they need to contact the driver directly and tell them, look, there was a report that was just made that you were drunk driver, or you were drunk or high on drugs or what have you. And I'm going to say, well, please go and get a drug test done so that we could have proof that you were not drinking and driving or on drugs. So I would give some time for the driver to be able to provide that. Up until then, the account would be on hold, but the driver would just need to go right away. So it needs to be time sensitive, and they need to be able to get tested, because there's a very good likelihood maybe you were just tired and you were just swerving around and somebody thought you were drunk. In that case, I mean, you definitely need to be well rested. But when it comes to doing it that way, I think that's a very logical opinion. I mean, idea, in my opinion. But anyways, I'm making this video a little bit too long, but this is more like a podcast style type of video. And I just believe that it should be mentioned, because we all should have a third option, because you get kicked off Lyft, you got kicked off Uber, well, now you got another chance. Now, there's other options out there. I haven't looked into them. I will be looking into them. I do not, how should I say, discriminate against any other opportunities out there. With all that being said, obviously, sometimes we don't make enough money. I understand. I will not complain about that. As I've mentioned before, you should just have a ride sharing job, not as your primary job source, but hopefully this is just a secondary hustle that you have. As I'm working on other things, I still rely on some kind of income stream. So being with rideshare, could be like a good in between type of job, or this could be like like actual just side hustle, to make a little bit extra money so that you could pay for those things that you really need or want. And if you're willing and able, it's like, why not? See, while I'm working on other things, I need an income stream that I could depend on. I know that I could go out there, do some rideshare, and make some money and pay that important bill or whatever. Because it's very easy to, get into debt, and because the cost of living is so expensive these days, it's very important to be able to calculate everything and determine whether or not something makes sense for you. But my income is not impressive with Lyft. As I recently did the calculation, and I don't know if I posted it yet or will post it next after this video or before. That remains to be seen. But it's only a little bit little bit more than $9 per hour, considering the fact that I'm using a Range Rover to do this, and that's based on all fuel used throughout the month. It doesn't matter whether I worked or not that day. That's just the cost of doing business and some personal, well, driving back home and driving to work. Obviously, that's a big one because I'm not really getting paid. So there's a lot of personal miles. I'm a workaholic, so I work a lot. Not only during rideshare, but I'm also working on eBay. Right now, I'm actually sitting in my office recording this video, and this is my eBay office at my property, and I'm getting ready to list some items to eBay, or at least getting ready to get listed for tomorrow, as I'm recording this video on a Wednesday, and tomorrow it's going to be more like family time day and just doing some eBay. But Friday, I'm going to be picking up my Tesla. So, which I will also record that experience with you, and give you guys further type of, videos and calculations and earnings reports and things like that. Now, with all that being said, I understand right now it's still not a hot season. It might be during this, when the school starts, and also there might be way too many drivers on the road. And since our income is technically not based on our driving, and the prices are really not based on anything, and when I say that, what they're based on is supply and demand. That's what they're basing our income on. So it doesn't matter what vehicle you have, they'll pay you more or less depending on how busy it is, And that's very tricky because even when you have a luxury vehicle, there's really no set pay. So with me saying I'll be getting paid more for driving a more expensive car, that might not even be the case, because what are they really basing that on? It might be still kind of like economy prices. So this is why when I get out there and I'm gonna work, I will work probably like every day, but I will take into account, let's say, like when I work like 3 days on Lyft, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I will calculate those days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and compare it to what I was making before on Lyft, because things are continued. But I definitely do not want to miss this weekend. I want to continue making money, and I got some credit cards I got to pay off. So starting any business is a risk, and eBay is kind of like a new business. I got some stuff listed, but it's very, very slow. With that being said, I gotta have money coming in. And on top of that, I have other things that I'm working on. But none of this stuff is easy or fast. But we all need income to come in, because I got a wife, I got 3 kids to support. I can't sit on my hands. I got to do something. But anyways, guys, hopefully this video has helped you. I wanted this video to be insightful as possible. So this is why it's so long. But if this video has helped you, hit a like. But hit a like just for my my time, because it takes time to do this kind of things, and I'm not necessarily going to make this time back. These videos don't really make me very much money. This video might make me $1, seriously, but I spend way more time on my channel that I'm not even making that much money from this channel. It's like $45 a month, but I'm posting videos a day. So that's roughly like $1.50 per day is what I'm making off this channel. Like, that's all. Would you really invest this much time like I have been, and, into producing a video, like editing and posting and stuff, when you could have been doing something else? Not a lot of people would be willing to do that. But I always look at the future, and I am trying to help people out, and that is my intention. If I could provide some information that could be insightful and clear, so be it. But anyways, guys, give me your feedback in the comments below, please. What do you think on all this now that you have gotten some of this information? You could also screenshot a lot of this stuff. This is why this video was recorded in this type of format, so that you could have some of these notes for yourself in case you're thinking about doing your calculation. And your calculation may be different. So maybe it makes sense for you, maybe it doesn't. If you got an economical car, there's a very good chance that you don't need a Tesla right now. But anyways, guys, stay tuned for my other videos, and thank you for watching. Thank you like so much for watching, especially this long videos, and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.